Maximum kitten.
Hi there, and welcome to the Department of Moose Information. This is a live web game show brought to you by Loose Moose Theater, in which I'm going to run these 6 improvisers through a bunch of different games and test their wits and test their creativity and see who comes out on top. I will be the Marco to their Polo. We have 2 teams tonight. The first team is the red team with Captain Dargie. And on his team, we have Lori.
Hello.
And we have Ellis.
Hi.
And they'll be taking on the blue team with Captain Wrench Chunk Muscle.
Hello.
And on his team tonight, we have Anyssa.
Hi.
And Rebecca.
Hi, everybody.
So the first thing we got to do is find out how you guys doing? How's everybody doing today?
Doing great.
Good. Yeah, pretty good.
All right.
Best pandemic ever.
Right. 10 out of 10 with pandemic again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need a one-word name from each of the teams. So let's start with the red team. Dargie, what's your team called?
The ASSIMOVS.
As in Isaac?
Yeah, but with 2 S's.
Okay. And blue team.
Well, fortunately, Rebecca has chosen our team name this round.
I have. We're the Banana Splits.
Ooh. It's good because it's a little it's classy,
Mm-hmm.
a little funny.
It's a little retro.
Whimsical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pretend there's a hyphen, so it's one word.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into things. So the first game that we're going to play tonight, the first section is called Truth and Lies. What's going to happen is I'm going to read out a statement that one of the players has given me, and the other team will then have 2 minutes to question that person to find out whether it's the truth or whether they're telling a lie. So we are going to start with the red team tonight. So this is Ellis. This is his statement, and it's, during the quarantine, I have read the entire Song of Ice and Fire series. So that would be the Game of Thrones books for the uninitiated.
I've got an opening question.
Yeah.
Why?
What else is left? I was like, well, I need something to do that's going to take up a ton of time. And the books were all on sale on the Kobo e-store. So I was like, oh, great, I can have the books and also not have to take up a full bookshelf with these books. So I was like, okay, great, I'll read them then.
How many books in that series, Ellis?
Currently 5.
And
Currently 5.
How long did it take you to read them all?
Starting slightly before quarantine. So starting like beginning-ish of March is when I started reading the first one. And then the whole quarantine thing happened and I got laid off from my job. And I was like, well, I need something to apply my time to or else I will start gnawing on my own brain. So I started doing that. And there is a hell of a lot to focus on.
Ellis, can you describe where in your house you do this reading?
On my bed, right behind me. It's where I'm spending most of my time now. It's just on my bed. I have the e-reader. I've got pillows propped up. I got cats. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that its timeline changed, you guys? That it was during quarantine and now it's a little bit before quarantine? Just saying.
I'm just curious, why not Tolkien or
Tolkien. I can't get into I don't know what to tell you. I can't get into Tolkien. I can do The Hobbit because The Hobbit's just trying to be like the one story. And even with Song of Ice and Fire, I started to notice after book 3, it starts to feel all stretched out and bloated. Like the first 3 books are this great tragedy of this one family. And then he starts to feel like, oh, I forgot I signed on to do 7 of these. And then he's like, well, here's what was happening in the desert a million miles away from everything else. Here's book 4.
And what do you have against Terry Pratchett?
Nothing at all against Terry Pratchett. His books just weren't on sale.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have my answer. Do we need more time?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this is 100% true.
Me too.
I've known Ellis since he was 15 years old. I know that he spends a lot of time in bed. True. I know he has cats. True. I know that he loves the challenge of like big, nerdy, multi-volume, epic tales that go nowhere.
Yeah. I agree.
This is true.
Yeah, it sounds true to me. It also sounds plausible to me because Ellis said part of it was the pricing of the issue.
Yes, and he's notoriously cheap.
So cheap. In fact, I once donated a huge collection of graphic novels to Ellis, which he then months later attempted to resell.
Can I tell you something I did to Ellis once? You're going to find this delicious.
Yes, I am.
He came to visit me like with no warning in Toronto. So we met in a bar and he left his novel that he was reading on the table when he went to the washroom.
Right.
And so I flipped quite close to the back of it and I
Right.
ripped out one page.
Exception
And I
point.
wrote, if you want to find out what happens next, text me, call me.
Oh.
I love
So,
Yeah.
and then I just waited. And
Yeah,
then
and I got to that page, and I
yeah.
texted you about it, and you sent me a photo of you burning it.
it was
Or
a
you
video.
burning- Yeah.
It was a video.
It was a Dan Brown. It was Deception Point by Dan Brown, and Rebecca just famously has a grudge against him.
Wow.
Well, and as well, she should have burned it.
Yes.
That's
I don't know if you all read
You
the
guys,
comics.
it was the
Deception
most
Point.
delicious thing to wait for.
Wow.
Didn't know how long it was going to take him to get there.
With the Dan Brown book, 15 minutes.
Wow, honestly.
so the blue team is saying this is true.
True.
Ellis, is this the truth or are you telling a lie?
It is 100% a lie.
Yes.
Animal Crossing came out on March 20th. I have done no reading.
Ah,
What's Animal Crossing?
video game trumps novels. There you
Yes.
go.
Boo,
Oh,
Ellis.
Ellis, I'm so disappointed.
I did read the first 3 Song of Ice and Fire books, but that was years ago, and I do consider that opinion to be true, which is that he wrote 3 books and then found out he had to write 4 more.
Wow.
Okay,
But it wasn't recently. It wasn't during quarantine.
Damn.
the next statement comes from the blue team. This is Rebecca's statement.
Mm-hmm.
I once crazy glued my eyes shut. Red, you have 2 minutes.
True.
We could
How
do
did
that. We
this
could pull the
happen?
trigger.
Sure. When?
What's the
Sorry.
win-win part? You
When,
didn't even
when
ask the
did
question.
when did you do this?
Oh, when did I do this?
Yeah.
I think I was in my first year of university.
Which eye?
Both eyes.
Both eyes.
Oh, eyes. Okay.
Yeah,
Were you
eyes.
putting on
Sorry.
false eyelashes?
I was fixing a piece of jewelry. I read the instructions. It said 1 drop, but I'm guilty of, like, if 1 is good, 10 is better. So I filled the well with crazy glue, and when I snapped the pieces together, it sprayed in my eyes. This eye was fully glued shut. This one, just the inside corner was glued, and then a big chunk of hair was glued across my face.
How'd you get them back open?
I actually was in such a panic that I ripped them open myself.
Was there any injury?
Yeah. I had so when crazy glue dries, it crystallizes. So it's like having glass in your eye. So I did end up, like, my brother called an ambulance and then they put some drops in my eye. So I had these huge scratches all across the surface of my eye. So I had 2 bandages on my eyes.
And
Did
what
you
were
get
you
sick?
fixing again?
Go ahead.
A piece of jewelry.
Was
What
there
piece of
medical
jewelry?
advice that the doctor gave you? Should this happen
that-
again?
What medical advice? Oh, well, the doctor actually said it was really good that I ripped my own eyes open because there's no solvent for crazy glue. So he said, it's better you did it at the height of your panic because then you didn't really feel it. Otherwise, you would have come here and I would have had to pull those open for you. So it's better to do it in a panic.
Did it hurt, like when you first glued your eyes shut?
No.
Was there anything unexpected that you felt?
The part where
my
her eyes
my
were
eyes
glued
were glued shut? Yeah.
Can you describe the piece of jewelry to me?
Yeah, it was like a Mexican bracelet with sort of like, well, I'd like to think it was real turquoise, but I don't think it was. I think it was just like little sort of turquoisey bits of plastic, and it was a gift for my girlfriend.
So which part broke?
One of the big stones on the top was loose, so I sort of popped it open a little more than and filled the well underneath with glue.
Did you have bangs back then? Describe this piece of hair that was stuck across your face.
I did have bangs because I've had bangs since I was 12.
Okay.
They were not as, it was like, when was that? That would have been like 19. That was in the 90s. So they weren't like this. They were longer bangs. But it was one of like it was more back here. This chunk of hair somehow got like that. I think because I did that, and then I don't know.
Okay, red team, we're gonna need a decision out of you.
I don't think this is true.
I don't think the crazy glue would squirt out. So I'm going to say it's not true.
I also don't think that it would squirt out like that. And I feel like Rebecca would have brought up the heat of crazy glue drying when it got in her eyes, because eyes are very sensitive. And I feel like how hot crazy glue gets when it sets would have been a talking point.
When I say crazy glue, are you thinking hot glue?
No, I'm thinking like super glue, crazy glue. Put a drop of it, it does heat up.
Okay.
If you're just joining us, this is Glue Talk. Dargie, what's your team? How are you guys going to decide this?
I've got to go with the team. Team says false. So.
Okay, so you're locking in at false. Rebecca, was this a true story or were you telling a lie?
This is 100% true. When I was 19, I crazy glued my eyes shut. You know that story, Dave.
I do.
Yeah.
Clearly the red team doesn't know that your nickname is Scratch Corneas. Otherwise they would have
That's right. I'll tell you, to this day, the smell of crazy glue is deeply upsetting to me.
Well done.
All
Good
right.
job, Rebecca.
I was glad Lori was
Public service announcement, there is nothing chemically in crazy glue that will make you go blind. It just dries very fast and crystallizes, and it feels like glass.
All right. So we're going to go to the red team for the next statement. This one is from Dargie. I accidentally raised an attack pigeon.
R-A-Z-E-D or R-I-S?
R-A-I-S, yes.
R-A-I-S.
I have no.
Where did this pigeon come from, Dargie?
It came from the Calgary International Airport.
Go on.
Yes, and then what?
Well, I was working at Park and Jet, and I was on the night shift, and there was a pigeon that got injured. So I stuffed him into my leather jacket and drove him home on my motorcycle. And
Sorry. I was just going to ask, how was he injured? How did you know he was
He had a broken wing, like he couldn't fly. And he just kept running into things, so I was like felt bad for him. So I bundled him up and I put him in my jacket and I took him home with me, and then I fixed him.
There was a song written about that pigeon in the late 80s.
And how did it accidentally become an attack pigeon?
Great question. So weird thing I didn't know about pigeons is that they become very territorial. And basically he lived in my room. So he had like sort of a cage, but he was allowed to come and go as he pleased. And he would listen to Jimi Hendrix during the day and then fly through the neighborhood. But people would walk through the back alley and he would dive bomb them.
Why Jimi Hendrix?
I don't know. I was just into Jimi Hendrix at the time, and he seemed to like it. And he would like Bob. Like whenever Jimi Hendrix would come on, he'd like fly in the window, and we'd like.
He read through the entirety of Lord of the Rings one summer. That was kind of fun. Yeah.
What was this bird's name? Did you give him a name?
Yeah, Thor, Pigeon of Thunder.
Thor.
Yeah. Sorry, this is an important. We're backtracking here, but Dave, is the song that you're thinking of "Take My Breath Away" from Top Gun?
No, it's Take These Broken Wings and Learn to Fly Again.
Why that one?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because he had
Good
a broken
try.
wing.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready to vote.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right, Blue Team, what do you think?
This is a
true.
sharp fire of lies.
I think it's false too.
Oh.
I think it's the.
I mean, okay. I love Anyssa, and I love wrench chunk muscle. So I'm not going to argue with either of you.
Yeah, but I don't. But I see why you think it's true, Rebecca. Like Dargie is a very kind, compassionate person, and I believe if he saw a wounded animal, he would scoop it up and like into his motorcycle jacket and ride off into the sunset. That feels real. The part where I start to wonder is like the bobbing of the head, like it's a scene out of like some movie. Like that doesn't. I don't know, but
honestly, if I stopped listening at Leather Jacket. I was like, I'm done. It's
Yeah,
true.
like, you
That
know,
sounds hot. Leather jacket, motorcycle,
I put
broken
this
bird.
injured bird in my leather
I'm
jacket.
in,
and rode
man.
home on my motorcycle
I was
to read
like already
poetry.
like having a slow dance in my mind. So you guys do the
take
vote.
my breath away.
Okay, Wrench. How are you? What are you gonna do?
Oh, Rebecca swayed me. This is a true story.
Okay, so you guys are locking in at true. So, Dargie, is this the truth or were you telling a lie?
I hate to disappoint you. It's 100% true. Or Pigeon of Thunder.
Oh,
Man.
so we got
Every,
it right.
every ounce of that is
Heartthrob
true.
Dargie.
What?
Yeah.
Anissa, right?
I'm
Always,
shook.
always stop listening at leather jacket.
Yes, lesson learned. Thank you, Rebecca. Wow.
Thor even helped me paint the fence, but he fell into the paint and got himself covered in brown paint, so then I had to unpaint him.
Or Thor.
Is your life just like a 90s movie, Dargie?
I was gonna say, is there a sitcom?
His
based
statement
on
was,
this?
I raised an attack pigeon. That's the name of the movie.
Yeah, but oh man, he got pissed at anybody that got too close to the yard. He would like swoop down and attack them.
Yeah.
Do you think that he was like thought of you as like his guy? Like,
I don't know, but we
His
would
life mate?
we would dance to Jimi Hendrix like together in my room. Like stuff would come on and we'd just like my head would bob, his head would bob.
that was
Dave,
a
you have
mating
to
dance.
cancel. You have to cancel the rest of the show, Dave. It's just I raised an attack pigeon now.
If you're joining us, this is Pigeon Talk.
Did you and a young Ethan Hawke and a young River Phoenix and the pigeon build a spaceship that allowed you to travel to visit some teenage aliens?
True.
Is that something that happened?
It's all true. It's true. It's captured in my journal.
Right.
And one time, him and the pigeon and a young Will Wheaton went to find a dead body. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
And then when they're walking along the tracks and that song comes on and it's just like, take my breath
No
away.
way.
You can see the pigeon walking down the tracks.
Yeah.
And he'd have to walk because his wing was broken.
That's right.
So, okay, we're going to move on to the final statement for the Truth and Lies round. This comes from the blue team, and this is Wrench's statement. I once fed a gorilla a smoothie.
Well, where did this happen?
This was at the Calgary Zoo, Michael.
What was the gorilla's name?
What's that?
What was the gorilla's name?
Oh, the gorilla's name was Kakinga. I was gonna say Coco. That's wrong.
And how long had you been dating before this happened?
Well, I guess you could say we were going steady for a while. Yep. Is
Did
that
you-
your question?
When was this?
Did your gorilla paint?
No, I don't believe Kakinga painted.
Okay.
Did you have the milkshake in your hand and you had to put it through some bars? Explain that.
That is correct. Yes. There
Did you have to bring it to the yard?
Yes.
What like socially, what did you have to do to prepare? Like, I'm assuming you can't just walk up to the bars and hold out the milkshake and Kakinga drinks. So, like, what did you have to do to get Kakinga to trust you?
Well, first I had to make a smoothie.
Yep.
So there's like a lot of like frozen fruits and things like that.
Okay.
Put it into a cup.
Were you
then-
guys in the kitchen together?
What's that?
Were you guys in the
Oh,
kitchen?
yeah. Were you in the kitchen together? And then, you accidentally knocked over a whisk and you went to grab it and Kakinga went to grab it at the same time and you both, your hands touched?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, but I mean, there was a kitchen right there, and then we
Okay.
prepared the smoothie, and then I
So
started.
they just let the zoo patrons come in and use the blender whenever they feel like it.
How big are a gorilla's fingers? And could Kakinga hit the button on the blender?
What was the actual, like, what was the scenario here that you were allowed to do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Follow-up question. And
Yeah.
was it a frappe?
Okay. Anyssa, are you struggling with the?
Why were you making a smoothie for a gorilla?
Okay.
What's the main context of this?
I'm going to start with Dargie's question.
Mhm.
His fingers are not much bigger than human fingers. They're just stronger.
What was the noise that Kakinga made when he slurped up the smoothie?
Oh, it was like when you feed your baby like a smoothie.
Why were you making a smoothie for a gorilla?
like
That's my
that?
question.
Deeper.
Whoa!
Yeah. Why was I? Sorry, Ellis. Did you have a question?
Yeah, why were you making a smoothie for a gorilla?
Well, how else are you going to get a nutritious breakfast in?
But why was it you? You're not a zookeeper.
Was it like breakfast with the gorillas? Like I've done breakfast with the elephants before.
Oh yeah. No, they don't let you do breakfast with gorillas.
Oh, so was this like a late night?
Is it because of the damaging part, where the gorillas could injure you and kill you?
Yeah, actually, yeah. And actually, I happen to know some of the other behind the scenes and breakfasts and things like that are also pretty can be pretty spooky.
And horribly, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ellis, I worked at the zoo. You were aware of this. It was in the inscription of one of the graphic novels that I gave to you that you sold to somebody else.
Oh, I sold that one to Josh. What did it say?
Guess, just guess. Guess if it's true or
You
not.
actually did this.
Red team, your time is up, so we're gonna need a decision from you.
The actual fulcrum of like, why is Rob feeding a smoothie to a gorilla is this black box that we still don't know. So I don't believe any of it. I feel like Rob would be very interested in saying the details of why he did feed a gorilla a smoothie.
Do you want to go back on any of that mixed metaphor and tidy it up?
No.
No, what I want to do is I want to hear from the other two members of the red team and move on.
I believe it's true. I believe that Rob fed a smoothie to a gorilla, and the way that I see it, there was a hammock involved, and probably like some umbrellas.
Like a long straw.
Yeah, and like in one of those curly straws.
Right.
In my
Murray,
mind.
what do you think?
Who's in the hammock? The gorilla, right?
And Rob together.
Oh, they're both. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And their like legs are intertwined.
Oh.
Okay. Save it for the hypothetical round. Lori, what do you think?
I think that a lot of it sounds true, but I can't believe that they would let him make it. But then again, it's just so crazy.
Just might work.
Okay, Dargie, you've heard from your team. What's your call?
Well, we got 2 falses to my true. I go with the team. It's
So you're gonna
false.
say this is false. All right. Wrench, is this the truth or were you telling a lie?
This is an accurate story. This is a true story.
Boo.
While I was working in the education department at the zoo, I was given an opportunity to come and help them out in the morning. And part of that involved readjusting the hammocks in the gorilla enclosure by dragging them around and attaching them to keep the gorillas more entertained. And another part of
What is
that
a hammock?
allowed me to feed a gorilla a smoothie through the bars, as you suggested, which I helped to prepare.
Wow.
That is not safe.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
very
Hammocks.
scary.
Hammocks,
I was
though.
perfectly safe, but like I was just like
You fed Kiki. He's the silverback, right? Like,
silverback. Yeah.
dang.
Wow.
You shouldn't do that.
He probably didn't look in the eye. He was like,
Well, I didn't, but also Kikinga's famously chill, or he was.
Kinka was a girl for some reason. In my mind, it was like
It's a
girl.
male
girl.
silverback. Actually,
Not to
the
prolong
alpha-
this, but at one point, way back when,
Mhm.
one of the volunteers at Loose Moose was a zookeeper.
I
Yes.
thought you were going to say one of the volunteers was Kakinga.
That's where gorilla fear
behind the
comes
scenes.
from.
Rebecca, were you at? Did you go
Yeah.
to this? Yes.
Yeah,
so-
we all got to go on a behind the scenes tour.
Yes. And at
Cool.
one point, we were in like the back of the gorilla enclosure habitat type thing, and Sean Kinley, who is a noted mimic and mime type person, went up towards the bars and started doing his best gorilla imitation, which caused the gorilla to charge the bars to try to get him.
Yeah, didn't go well.
Didn't go out.
Oh my God, that's like when
He
Robin
he
Williams-
leapt right out of character. It was amazing.
Wow.
There you go. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the truth and lie section. And I can tell you that ASSIMOVS, the red team, has 0 points so far. And the blue team, the Banana Splits, have 5 points.
Mhm.
That's going to bring us to the second portion of the show where we're going to do some hypothetical questions. So I'll read out a hypothetical question. One of the teams will answer it. The other team will have a few minutes to think about it. They will answer the same question, and we will switch the order around for the second question. So since they are behind, the red team will start this time. And your first hypothetical question is, you have the ability to remove one type of music entirely from the world. What type of music is it and why?
Just putting this out there. Country.
Oh.
Mm. Mm.
All right,
don't-
why? What's your justification?
It hurts my brain.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to I don't want to mess with this magic too much though, because like where does country end and like bluegrass begins or like roots begin. Like you don't want it. That's gonna kill so much more.
It starts at Glenmore and then it changes again at Pagan.
Okay. I want to remove.
You're in charge of the removal, so you can make the call.
Okay.
I'm thinking. Oh my God! Like I want to get rid of sort of a harpsichord, cinematic music. That's what I want to get rid of. I don't know what that genre is.
You want to get rid of cinematic harpsichord music?
Yeah.
What am I going to put on my makeout playlist? I want to get rid of Christmas songs that end with a piano playing in a very high octave the first measure of Jingle Bells, because that is so played out. I'm so tired of it. Every Christmas song ends and goes dun, 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 dun. It's a hack move. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that.
What about all Christmas music altogether?
I like the specificity.
I just need those songs out of here. Everything
Just a subgenre.
Just find a different ending is all I want.
We're going to say hacky Christmas music should be eliminated.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Music, ending in.
Oh, but that gets rid of Honky the Christmas Goose. We can't just do hacky Christmas music.
Or any Christmas music, apparently, or harpsichord, or country, chap hop. But I love chap hop, so we can't do that.
Okay, Red Team,
Someone's baby.
so your time is up. I'm going to take your answer was the one that Ellis was putting forward with the piano. Had you taken all Christmas music away, you would have lost a number of points.
Ooh.
And we're already at 0.
Because I am a fan. I'm going to give you 5 because it was such a perfectly specific genre,
Yes.
and I think we can all relate to that. So, full 5 points.
Well done, Ellis.
Blue team, same question. You have the ability to completely remove one type of music from the world. Which type and why?
I'm going to be really specific. I would love to eliminate all underscoring from any improv show done on a keyboard. Goodbye. Plinky, 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 plinka, planka, plinka. Every scene sounds exactly the same. Goodbye, electric keyboard. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
It's the stuff that sounds a little bit like the interstitial music on Mr. Rogers. except-
I would rather improvise in a deafening silence than have keyboard underscore to anything I'm making up, ever.
I do most of my improvising with deafening silence, so I can relate.
Exactly. You're proving my point. You're proving
Yeah,
my point.
No, it's really I mean it's easy to improvise because you only play the black keys. That's all you have to do. It's really very simple. I can teach anybody the trick. You just play the
If
black
someone
keys.
said to me, Rebecca, for the rest of your life, all of your improv has to be underscored by someone playing a squeeze box,
Uh-huh.
I would take that. I would take that over those keyboards.
Or you get a punch in the face every day. That's
Give me the punch in the face, and I'll give you $1 million if you get rid of those keyboards.
Wow.
Just have it be the same guy.
Rebecca has a solid point. Do you
That
have
has to
anything on
be our answer. I mean, she's so
Yeah.
passionate.
She is, but you know what? I was just thinking, Anyssa, it was about our friendship because it goes back a long way.
Oh.
Yeah, and now watch this, Anyssa. Watch this. Oh, Anyssa, I'm sorry to deliver the news, but your mom is dead.
Oh no.
Exact same song. Same sound.
Where's the minor keys?
There are no minor key. You can't. It's not in a minor. It's not in a major or minor scale.
It's pentatonic.
Pentatonic.
All right, Blue
If
Team,
you're
you
just
also
doing
get
it-
5 points. I'm giving you full points for that. There was a lot of passion. There was a lot of decisiveness. I liked it.
Man.
Okay, Blue Team, you're going to go first on this next question. And the question is, would you rather convince a vegetarian to eat meat or convince a Mormon to drink coffee?
Oh,
It's tough.
oh, those are
Neither.
such delicious choices.
Yeah. Okay. Is this like what kind of vegetarian is this? Is it like a ovo-lacto vegetarian, or are we talking about like a vegan?
Yeah.
Vegan.
Okay.
Vegan?
There's a big difference between a vegan and a vegetarian. You just upgraded our challenge, wrench chunk.
Let's take it, man. Let's take it and let's make those vegans eat sausage.
Because
Yeah,
it's not like there's Mormons that only have cappuccinos, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there probably are, but
Look, the Mormons are doing God's work. What are the vegans doing?
Nothing.
Preaching.
Yeah.
Preaching more than the Mormons.
Yeah. You know what? And you know what it is though too? Like the Mormons will come by like in an afternoon or a Sunday or whatever. They're
You're
not
done.
they'll knock on the door, they'll say some polite stuff, they'll leave, you know? But
Very
vegan,
nice.
you're gonna be on Facebook and a vegan's gonna come up and they're gonna be like, hey, you know what you could stop doing is stop eating
Yeah.
vegan, and it's gonna help with everything, and then they're gonna post their little
Mhm.
no.
And I think
No.
it would be easier too because I have lots of friends and family that are vegans.
Yes.
And every time that they see like bacon, they're like, "Oh, I really miss that," you know?
Mhm.
So
know what? You're
never
gonna-
mind bacon. Like you could bring up, the score in the baseball game yesterday, and they will not fail to tell you that they are vegan during that
True.
conversation.
I want to make like a
Okay.
like a vegan tofu loaf and like a vegan gravy and like vegan mashed potatoes where you save the potato water instead of using cream and you mix it all and you just like serve it for lunch, but all of it is just like ground veal, and I want to serve it to them, and I want to serve it to them, and I want to look them dead in the eye and say, this is because I posted that kitten video, and you were like, actually the kittens in these videos are often from adoption agencies and they don't do that well. I'm like, that is your fault. That is your fault for ruining kittens for everybody, vegan.
We vote for
I
vegans.
got it.
Yeah, we would like to convince the vegans to eat meat.
Meat.
All right, guys, full points. Sorry, you're hitting all the right buttons today.
Yeah.
So now this is tricky because you've made some great arguments here. So the red team's going to have to come from a different tack. They can't do exactly what you just did. So would you rather convince a vegetarian to eat meat or convince a Mormon to drink coffee?
So we're not forcing anyone to do anything.
No, you're trying to convince them.
Aren't we?
Right.
I would like to understand the whole context around, like, what happens if a Mormon does drink coffee? Like, is there
Mhm.
something that happens to them?
Yes, they shingle a roof.
And I mean, they will mow your lawn. Like,
I think every great story begins because somebody breaks a rule. And luckily Mormons have like 170 rules that that's 170 different very interesting stories.
And
Here's
this
the
is where
one
we
where a
started.
guy accidentally plays full court basketball. Here's the one where a guy accidentally wears regular underwear. I think there's a lot of interesting stories to be told there, and the coffee one is just one of them.
And I think it's a gateway story. It's like,
Yeah.
it's one that you could probably sneak in. And what happens next? Like, what's the?
Yeah, you start off, you're watching How to Train Your Dragon, and you go, wow, all this happened because one Viking didn't kill a dragon. And then you go like, I wonder what would happen, if one Mormon didn't avoid a coffee.
Here's a mochaccino.
Yeah,
And
why don't you
just
try
fly
it?
that-
across the
If
coffee
that
bean.
Mormon had the coffee,
Uh-huh.
could they then go convince vegans to eat meat?
I think so, because they're very convincing people. They're very nice people, and I think we can kill two birds with one stone. We don't have to be either or like the blue team with
Yeah.
their lazy ways of just taking one side of the argument. I
Yeah,
think we can do both.
I think we
can
just
outsource,
won.
And
I
this,
think we
this
can
is like
outsource
the,
some
and
Mormons,
this
yeah.
is the second story in the Mormon story.
Yeah.
The coffee, then veganism, and they will go door to door and they will spread that word.
Yeah,
So we're
Just
going to
holding-
start
just
with the
holding a
Mormon
big
and we're going to
handful of
cover
meat.
everything.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of
Fast
links of
because they're
sausage.
passionate.
yeah.
All right. You guys are also getting full points, and you weren't. But then Lori jumped in, and I liked Lori's thing. I thought that was good that she had both of them in there. So
Do we get extra points for that?
not extra points, but you got more points than you would have gotten.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Lori.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Lori.
So that brings us to the end of the second portion of the show. The ASSIMOVS, the red team, has 10 points. Banana splits, the blue team has 15 points.
Oh, it's so close.
Ooch.
So now we're going to move into the third and final portion of the show. This is categories. So I'm going to give the players a category, and they're going to give me lines or things that fit inside of that category. They're going to let me know that they have one by putting their hand up, and I'm going to call on them one by one so that everybody's not talking at the same time. If you come up with a line that I think is particularly witty or makes me laugh, I'm going to give you 2 points for it. If neither of those things happen, you're going to get no points for it. And so the first one we have tonight is bad things to hear from a tour guide.
So many.
Ellis.
And I took a crap there, and I took a crap there, took a crap over there. Oh, ooh, crap there as well. That'll clean right up.
Dargie.
That itching you're feeling is from a bacteria common in these waters.
Rebecca.
And this is where we keep the bodies.
Yep, Rebecca, yep.
Lori.
I swear that dolphin has never bitten anybody before.
Ellis.
Karen, I'm so sorry for how things ended, but I promise if you take me back, I'll do better this time. And so the Leaning Tower here, actually.
Dargie.
Don't worry about keeping your hands and arms inside the vehicle. When those gators are hungry, nothing will stop them.
Anyssa.
Not to worry, folks. We'll just meet up later. I'm just gonna get out now, and we'll see you guys in a little bit.
Lori.
Hey, did you guys see that cliff over there? That's where Thelma and Louise went. Who's in?
Rebecca.
Welcome to Toronto.
Dargie.
Welcome to Sheepland. We're sure you'll have a great time.
Anyssa.
We just wanted you to know that we aren't paid very well, and we do rely on your tips. We recommend $20 per head, but anything is fine. That was just a very realistic answer. It wasn't even meant to be funny, Dave. I just want points for accuracy. Thank you.
So real.
Hey, Ellis.
Who's a fan of audience interaction?
Okay, so for the final category, this is cliffhanger lines from a soap opera.
Oh.
Ooh,
Dargie.
I shot JR. Some 80s throwback.
Like actual ones? No, you want us to make
No,
them
it
up.
should be unlikely ones. Yes, sorry.
Unlikely.
Unlikely cliffhangers from soap operas.
Correct.
He shot JR.
Ellis.
That was the morgue. Alf is dead. Hang on, my cats are fighting. I have to get them out of the room.
That one was
Great
actually really good.
cliffhanger ever.
You should get a lot of points for that one.
Yeah.
You get 2 points for my cats are fighting.
Thanks, Ellis.
Dargie.
You've got two hearts. One is broken. I don't know which one.
Ooh.
Medical drama.
Okay. That's it. Nobody's got one. Nobody's got one. Everybody's just got go Ellis first.
That was the morgue. Alf's back.
A lot of mileage off that one. Wrench, you're up next.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, actually, just kind of hoping that Ellis is going to turn out another Alf one. I just got my fingers crossed for that. His Alf-based soap opera sounds like it's a real gem.
Lori, did you have one?
Oh, yeah, but it's bad. Okay. I'm the twin that you thought was absorbed in the womb, but it turned out I'm real.
Yeah.
High five.
It's Alf. Would you stop trying to eat the cat? I need you to stop eating the cat. Alf, why are you?
Why is the dad from Alf German?
He's not German. He's just not quite.
Alf, why are
He's
you
got his own accent.
Any more? Anybody else got one? Ellis?
It didn't end there. Kakinga and I are in love now.
Okay, I'm calling it right there. And I can already tally the scores. It was quite easy to do so tonight.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that ASSIMOVS, the red team, has 40 points.
Woo!
Wow. That's a new record, isn't it?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good.
And the
Record
blue
for us.
team, the Banana Splits, has 29 points.
We really fell behind.
We did.
Fell behind in
In
that
the
last round. I
categories.
think Alf was the difference there.
Alf made all the
Alf
difference.
crushed us.
Like in television, Alf made all the difference.
All right, can we get some words of wisdom from the red team, from our champions for the evening?
Well, as the immortal words of Alf from Melmac, Ellis, I turn it over to you.
I kill me. Ah!
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
As we said earlier, we're doing this on behalf of Loose Moose Theater because we can't do live shows for you right now. There should be a link at the bottom for a site where you can go, and if you feel like throwing a few dollars towards the theater to keep things running during these crazy times, it would be very much appreciated. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Good night.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.